Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Hernandez. I'm the Executive Director for WELL. I want to thank each and every one of you for participating in this information webinar this afternoon. We are excited to be here with you and to share a little bit more about what we do and, more importantly, about the AAPI UnTapped Fellowship. First and foremost, the history of WELL is we've been around for over 11 years. We've trained over 650 elected officials on California water policy. Our mission is to educate and train local elected officials on California water policy. But more importantly, we define a local Latino leader as any elected official that represents a Latino constituency, whether that's 100 or 1,000. So in our eyes, we see many different colors of Latino leaders in our organization. And you'll hear more about them in a few minutes. As I mentioned, one of the programs that we've been so happy and very proud is our flagship program, the UnTapped Fellowship Program. This is a program in which that we found that has provided the most valuable opportunities for local elected officials to learn about California water policy. We've done conferences, we've done webinars, regional workshops, and so forth. But we have noticed that the best and greatest gain comes from our UnTapped Fellowship Program. To date, we have graduated over 45 WELLOs. Those are individuals that complete the UnTapped Fellowship Program, and they become part of our leadership. These individuals, as we call them, WELLOs, are integrated into our organization, into our fabric, and into our DNA. We work with them as we plan for our annual conferences, our legislative workshops, our roundtables, and other activities and programs that we provide to the public and for others. So again, I want to be mindful of everyone's time. We're going to start on time and we're going to finish on time today. So with that, we'll move on to the next slide here, please. And today we're here because of our AAPI UnTapped Fellow graduates and supporters of WELL. As a result of their integration and participation with WELL, they came and said to us, can WELL create an AAPI UnTapped program or cohort? And we said, absolutely. Again, based on how we see an elected official, Latino leader, these are all Latino leaders in our eyes. And so I certainly want to, give gratitude and thank them for organizing, hosting, and more importantly, recruiting you to this seminar, and more importantly, also for the UnTapped program. So first, I'd like to thank our former council member, Peter Chan, with the city of Monterey Park, council member Samuel Kang from the city of Duarte, and also a graduate of the 2019 class. And of course, Mayor Gabriel Quinto from the city of El Cerrito up north, and Director Mike Tai with Three Valleys Municipal Water District, and board member Cindy Wu with the Mountain View School District, and council member Thomas Wong with the city of Monterey Park. Without them, we wouldn't be here today. So I certainly want to give a round of applause and kudos for them. For their leadership and their interest in hosting this type of class for their community and our communities throughout California. Thank you. Next slide, please. And with that, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our moderator for today. As I mentioned, former council members of Peter Chang with the city of Monterey Park, who happens to be one of our first AAPI and also UnTapped WELLO that started with our first class back in 2018. And with that, I'll turn it over to him and have us share a little bit about himself, and we'll go from there. Thank you, Peter.
Hey, thank you, Paul. And welcome everyone coming to this session. And I'm so happy to be part of the WELL program and part of this very precious and valuable session on knowing more about water. But on top of water, actually, we learn a lot other things, like how to be leaderships, how to ask questions. And the most important thing that I see from WELL is the connection to other elected officials throughout the state. And we became friends and got advices and exchanges ideas from each other. And that is, no comparisons to other organizations. And I was recruited by Victor, whom we all know, and he's one of the pillars in this organization, and he has done quite a lot of things for all of us. And so we are so grateful that we're going into the API community. And I still remember a few years ago when Victor recruited me in this WELL, and I was thinking, hey, I'm Asian, what are you doing to recruit me? And then he explained to me that that is all inclusive and everything. So I like the idea, and that's why I joined as one of the fellow in 2018. And I still think it's very good program, and I hope we have more people coming in. And actually, we've been working with the API community at least 2 years ago, starting at 2 years ago. I was the president of the CEO, is the Chinese American elected officials, and I was the president, and we are talking about joint venture to have some students to learn about water and have seminars and so forth. But just because the pandemic, and so it's got everything just derailed and off track, and but good that we start to do it again, and hopefully we have a good program in the coming year. And so just a little bit about me is, yes, I'm a former council member and mayor of the city of Monterey Park, but it's less than 24 hours. I just gave my farewell speech last night, and new council members sworn in, and like Thomas Wong is the new council member in the city of Monterey Park. And so I have the privilege of seeing them to take the position, and wish them well as good as they can. So, and then I would like to introduce the other fellow that came into this program. And the next one is will be Cindy Wu. She's the board member of Mountain View School District. Cindy, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself?
Great, thank you so much, Honorable Chan. Hi everyone, my name is Cindy Wu. I am the first person that looked like me that was elected to the over 150-year-old school board called Mountain View School District that covers part of El Monte and part of South El Monte. And I am also the cohort grad of WELL UnTapped 2022. I had the fortune of being the immediate past president of Los Angeles County School Trustees Association that covers the 93 school district here in AAPI County, and which is 13 community college district and 80 K through 8 school district. And I would love to share with everyone, as you all know, school districts cover quite a bit, use up quite a bit of water here in the LA County, and also throughout the state. And would this be a good time for me to share a little bit about what I got, all of WELL UnTapped? Honorable Chen.
Go ahead, but because we have limited time, so go ahead.
Alrighty, and I definitely want to share, as a school board member, we spent over $1 million on our just electricity alone, and of course with water it's also substantial. Having 8 schools, and we used to have 12 schools, it definitely takes up a lot of usage. And as I learned throughout my journey within the WELL UnTapped program, is that water is the highest commodity that anybody can have. If we all look at, there is gold. Everybody can do without gold, without oil, but we cannot do without water. And water, I was first inspired by there's a nonprofit called Water, and basically by all the shortage of water that's throughout the world. And that's what's really gained my interest in water. But however, after participating in the WELL UnTapped program, that not only we have the opportunity about learning the water that is really affecting our state, NorCal, SoCal, and Central California, but we also have a chance to learn about the opportunity that we can actually make an impact and actually reserve water. And so I know this session today is a little bit about what you're going to be learning, being a part of the WELL cohort. And fortunately, I had the chance of participating with many of the founders that's been on the call here. But it's also about learning about method of question, and also about water conservation, and everything else you will learn, storytelling, so many of the tools that's really effective for elected official. I want to thank Victor, Paul, and also Stephanie for putting this together and making sure that we also educate our fellow Asian elected to be a part of the movement to conserve water and to figure out what's the best way of us figuring out our water crisis and the right to water as a human being. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. And I would like to say a little bit about Sam Kang, and he's the council member of City of Duarte, and he just elected again to his third term in the city, and he's the second year of the WELL, and contributed quite a lot. But today he has some other engagements, so that's why he cannot participate in this session. So thank him for all his services to the city of Duarte and also to WELL. And so let's move on to the next one. Paul, you want to give some overview of the program from now on? Please take over.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Council Member. Again, the way we learn the UnTapped Fellowship is a little bit different than other organizations. We have four major tenets that we kind of live by through the UnTapped Fellowship. The first item is the history of water, the governance, the infrastructure, and finance. But under each and every one of these topics, we talk about the delta, how important that is, the Colorado River. We learn about the hydrology 101, water storage, water conveyance systems, as we talk under infrastructure, man-made and also natural-made. We talk about water quality and contaminants, and more importantly, finance, right? The almighty dollar. Because unlike other organizations, we use a different teaching method to learn the content, and we'll go into that in the next slide here, please. Thank you. As I just mentioned, we use a different technique. We use the WELL method of inquiry and the art of public narrative to learn the content. Unlike other organizations, when we have guests, they come and they provide their knowledge, but we do that by extracting and asking the right questions of the guest that comes in front of us or in front of the WELLers. So that's the way we tend to learn the content of the curriculum. Unlike having a presenter just use a PowerPoint and so forth, this is an engaging exercise for all of the UnTapped fellows. So when you're in a class amongst with your cohort, you will spend a bit of time preparing for the interview, making sure that you know what the questions to be asked, of what's important to you, but also why it's important not only to you but also to the group. And then you'll practice this WELL method of inquiry. Now, we believe that this skill set, as with anything else, is another tool in your toolbox. So as an elected official, as you can imagine, having more skills and having more toolbox will enhance your leadership development when you go back to your home cities and your diocese. And then, of course, we also use the art of public narrative. This is a way in which the Wellos are able to connect with one another, but also with your local constituents based on your values and their values. And we teach a way, as Cindy mentioned, as a storytelling, but it's more about understanding the individuals, so that way you can collectively act together on issues that your city or your district might be facing at a local or at a state level. Because again, we spend a lot of time, a lot of energy around this, because again, we understand that this is a way of really defining and building those relationships much more stronger than someone just living in your district, someone that went to the same school, or someone just simply, that sits on the dais to the left or to your right of you. So that's a way in which we're really excited about how we teach the curriculum. And it's a piece that every day we practice, not only through ourselves, but also through the UnTapped Fellowship Program. And then at the end, one thing that we also believe is, knowledge is great that you inherit and that you learn, but not sharing that knowledge means nothing to us. So we encourage that at the end of the UnTapped Fellowship Program, you will host a legislative workshop, which is what we call the capstone project. And that allows you to use these tool sets and the education, the curriculum that you just went through, to pull together local leaders in your district, either through a state assembly or a state senate district, where you can talk about the current water issues that are facing in your specific area. And that's important because now you're spreading the information of water knowledge to others, and more importantly, you're engaging them and being part of the solution. Again, we believe the fundamental process of tackling California's water crisis is based on education. The more people know about California water policy, the better we're going to be, especially those that are elected officials, because you are the individuals that when you're at the grocery stores, when you're at the little leagues, when you're at church, people look to you to ask you your thoughts, your opinions, and more importantly, the solutions to the issues that they may be having in your district or in your area. Thank you. With that, we'll turn it over to the next page. And so one of the things that we want to make sure is, share with folks our commitment, and the expectation. It's pretty simple. As I've written here, we have 8 sessions. 4 of them are in person and 4 are virtual. And we'll have Stephanie talk a little bit about where they go and what we do. But we use also these in-person sessions to create bonds, connect with folks, but also be able to connect with the curriculum that we're teaching for that particular area. An example is we go to the Coachella Valley out in the Inland Empire, where you understand the Colorado River, but also able to connect and speak with, 1 or 2 or others that are facing, challenges with access to clean and affordable water that you hear about, the 1 million people in California. We also go to Central Valley, where we talk about water quality, also farm workers issues and other issues and topics that are facing Central Valley. As I mentioned earlier before, we also go to the Delta, or the Sacramento River up north, so we can understand the importance and the significance of that water in that canal as it relates to entire California. And for this upcoming class, we're also going to be going to San Diego to understand water quality and contaminant issues down in that region too. Because again, water challenges, they are all interconnected, as you'll learn through the program. And of course, as we talked about, the commitments from you is, we ask you to come prepared, do some pre-reading, engage yourself in the discussions, and be present. As with anything else, is what you give in is what you take out. And that's something that, we're extremely proud about. because, each of these individuals, the cohorts or the WELLOs that have gone through the program and completed the program, we are extremely proud of them. That's why we consider this program our flagship program, to make sure that, we are creating a roadmap to the California water crisis. And as I mentioned, the last part here is to develop, and lead a local legislative workshop. It's a capstone project. This is something that we tell people is to help enhance, your efforts that you're already currently doing in your city and your district. It's not to burden you, but it's to help enhance the work that you currently are already doing. Many of you are already hosting, community meetings, workshops on all sorts of various issues. But very few do we have non-water board directors hosting workshops on this very specific issue. We find that right now, California water policy is the biggest public policy issue facing California. And as you can imagine, as an elected official, you are being pressed and, having to discuss and learn and other solutions, whether it's homelessness, whether it's housing, whatever the case may be. These are all important priorities. But right now, we see California water crisis as one of the biggest public policy issues because it's not going to go away anytime soon. More importantly, it's more about learning how do we adapt, how do we change, and how do we move forward with the limited resource that we have, such as water. With that, we'll go to the next slide. Perfect. As we mentioned, what you should expect from us is professionalism. We lead all activities with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and a lot of love. The relevant content is all timely, so it's not something historic per se. Sometimes it's important to understand the past so we know where to go in the future, and more importantly, we'll take care of the logistics and the arrangements. As I tell people, when they join the cohort, is once you arrive, we treat you as family. We play host. We take care of your meals. We take care of the logistics. All we ask for you is to be ready to learn and be engaged in the conversations. And then more importantly, after you graduate from the UnTapped Fellowship Program, you're inducted into the WELL UnTapped Network. This is a network of past graduates, as I mentioned, of 45 elected officials, where we continue your ongoing water education and leadership development. We recently just hosted an event in Burbank, California, a few weeks ago, and we were able to provide some local tours, but also provide specific learning objectives based on what the WELLOs wanted to learn, not from what we wanted to teach them, but what they wanted to learn and continue their education. So that's a process that's really important to us because, again, one of the commitments that we ask for folks when they join the UnTapped Fellowship Program is their commitment to ongoing education. And as I tell people, once you start with us, it's just the beginning of your journey. As we talked about, is utilizing our WELLOs as our leadership and moving forward. It's not a one and done deal with us whatsoever. And with that, I'll turn it over to Stephanie Nava Angeles, who's our program manager and lead us in a couple other logistical items. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Paul. So now that you've heard from our WELLOs about their experience through the program, you understand the commitment and the curriculum that goes throughout the fellowship program. I'm just going to be briefly going over the logistics. So the program is about 6 months. It's going to run from July all the way to December. Sessions are primarily, the in-person sessions are primarily held on the weekends. And then we do have 4 virtual sessions that are Thursdays from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. You don't have to write these dates down. They will be on the application, which I will go over the application process. So after this webinar, applications will be open. So I will go ahead and send this the link to the application to all of our attendees, as well as those who filled out the UnTapped or the AAPI UnTapped interest form. The deadline for the application is going to be Friday, April 14th. Each applicant will be interviewed by our executive director, so that was Paul, and then the final cohort will be chosen and announced in May of 2023. So when you receive your acceptance letter and you'll also be receiving all of your onboarding documents and the program invoice. That way you can kind of take care of that. We do need all payments submitted before the first UnTapped session. So that would be, again, towards the end of July. And all payments or the payments should come to us. So the cost to participate in the UnTapped Fellowship Program is going to be $2,500 for City Council and school board members, and then $3,500 for water district directors. So with that, if you need any more information on the UnTapped Fellowship Program, you can go to our website. That's latinosforwater.org/untapped. So we'll go ahead and open it up to Q&A. So I'll hand it back over to Peter to take over that.
Thank you, Stephanie and Paul, for the presentation. And before the Q&A session, I want to add is that when you're one of the participants in those programs, it's a lot of work, but don't get discouraged because it's good for you, good for all of us. And when you're in those sessions, the professionals come in, make the presentation, and then we have a chance to ask them questions and talk about things, different things. And as you know, as elected officials, we tend to talk and we like to talk. And then sometimes not just sometimes, a lot of times, the questions is even longer than the answer. Just because we like to talk, but that is not the right thing to do. But in these sessions, we learn how to ask questions, how to get to the point, and how to get the right answers. So we learn a lot, and then we don't have the problem of asking the questions too long, but ask the precise questions to the point, and that's important. So I just want to add that to the before we get to the session. And if you have any questions, just type it in or call in or whatever. And I got one question is, do you offer any scholarship opportunities if my school district cannot pay for the program fee? So Paul, Stephanie, you want to talk about the scholarship?
Yes, thank you, Peter. That's a very good question. Yes, we do have some limited scholarships available for UnTapped participants. We give them up to $500. For us, we also want to ensure that money is not a barrier to education, because again, we value education first and foremost. So we will work with the individual candidates, whether it's a school board member, a water board member, or a wastewater board director, and of course, council member and so forth. So yes, we're happy to do that on a first come first basis, but also based on the need. Thank you, Peter.
Okay, thank you. And there's another question is, are there opportunities to fundraise through the network of graduates?
Are there opportunities to fundraise through the network? Well, first and foremost, we're a nonprofit organization, so we just want to make sure that people understand that. If I understand this question is opportunities to fundraise through the network, that is perhaps, I'm thinking if an individual constituent, WELLO, wants to ask other individuals for fundraising. That's something that we don't necessarily encourage. But if others know that an elected is going or running, then that's something that they can do as a on a case-by-case basis on their own. We don't participate in that because, again, as a nonprofit 501, we can't engage in those type of activities. I hope I answered the question. If not, Dr. Boyd Hodgson, you can certainly email me and we can talk offline.
All right, thank you. And then the other question is, if I miss any sessions because of conflict, can I still graduate, or how many times, or another way is how many times we can absent?
Yes, well, thank you. And I'm sure you know this very well, Peter, because when you went through the course, when it was 12-month course, 12 sessions. We've limited that, we've reduced that down to 6 courses. to be respectful of people's times. When it comes to conflict or scheduling conflicts, that's why we're providing the dates of the events and the sessions today. We give enough folks a lot of leeway so they understand that, one, the expectation for us is that each of the fellows, as they're going through the coursework, will participate in each and every one of these in-person and virtual sessions. Because again, the way we teach our curriculum, it's a foundational base. So if you miss one day, we're not gonna catch you up, and you're not gonna be able to catch up on some of the information. So for that reason, and others, we have a very strict policy where we ask people that they must attend each of these sessions. If they miss one, then they we will ask them to exit the program and re-enroll in the next program if that's the case. But that's the standard answer as we tell everybody.
Right, I know time is very important to the elected officials, and when I was in the program, that's the toughest one. And I still remember that one time it was in San Diego, and I got functions in the city of Monterey Park, and I right after the sessions I drove back to the city and then finish it and go back to San Diego. So there's like 5-6 hours of driving just in one day. So, but yeah, try to schedule yourself. But it's good too. Yeah. And then another question is there a fee to apply? I think Stephanie talking about money.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that question. So there is no fee to apply to the fellowship program. You would just apply on our job form. You can save the application so that it feels a little bit too long. You can start it up, finish up later. There are three, just to talk a little bit more about the application, there are three main questions that we just want to learn about, why you're interested in the program, the impact that you can make on your community after joining it. So we just ask that you take a little bit of time, thinking about that through your thought process.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any more questions. Any more questions?
Maybe I could ask Stephanie a quick question. The question that we get often, Stephanie, is what does the fee cover, the program fee?
Yeah, so for the program fee itself, it does cover the full sessions. It covers hotel, lodging. Like Paul said, when the session starts, we treat you like family. We will go ahead and take care of those expenses during it. But what it does not cover is the conference. So that would be a separate fee as well. It also doesn't cover any lodging outside of the program date. So if you want to arrive a day early or leave a day later, that would be a separate cost that we would not cover. Also any meals and no travel. So you have to arrive to the session on your own.
And if I can just add to that, most elected officials, similar to you traveling to a conference, whether it's a League of Cities or other areas, usually the local district will cover those expenses, whether it's airfare, mileage, and so forth. So, we haven't seen much of an issue on that in the past, but that is something that, as folks sometimes think about, the total cost of the program.
Okay, there's another question is why the fees are different for water district? They are more expensive.
Yes, that's a very good question. We've heard this from time to time. Well, again, we feel that water directors, this is their bread and butter, right? This is the one issue that they spend their entire council or their entire time on their dais resolving and trying to improve as a water district. So that's why we have a little bit of a higher fee for them. Now with council members, and as you can imagine with school board members, it's a little bit different. They have multiple different issues and other priorities. So this is a way to incentivize those from those sectors of our elected official community to join and to be more engaging in these type of conversations. So yes, I hope that answered your question, and I'm happy to answer this individually or online if people have more concerns in regards to our funding structure. And what I will say is, the fee that we have partially covers the entirety cost of the program. If I were to, tell you what it actually costs us for everyone to come with our staff time and so forth, it would be much, much higher for everyone. So we absorbs a good significant amount from this program because, again, we value the education versus the funding. But as you can imagine, as with any organization or business, we need to make sure that we cover the cost of operating and keeping the lights on.
Okay, I really don't see any other questions. So any more questions? If not, I think we come to the end of this session, and I want to thank everyone participating, and I hope to see you in the coming program. And I think the next one will be the conference in Van Nuys, right? That's March, end of March. Yeah, so put it in your calendar, and hope to see you all. Thank you for coming. Have a good day.
Thank you, Peter. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for all of our committee members. As we mentioned, with Cindy Wu, Gabriel Quintana, Director Mike Tai, Thomas Wong. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone here. And of course, Peter's, I just want to make sure we don't miss anyone here. And Samuel Kang, of course, and I think I covered everyone there. As Peter mentioned, our next engagement opportunity to learn more about us and to learn about water will be on August the 31st, April 1st, in Van Nuys for our 11th annual conference. We'll send that information to everyone. So again, thank you for joining for this information webinar. And if you have any additional questions, by all means, feel free to contact Stephanie or myself, and we'd be happy to set up one-on-one Zooms or in-person meetings with you. Thank you. With that, have a great day.